You're watching News Central now on News Central TV. I'm Dashen. Usman. The top stories this hour. Acting Army Chief Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede visits Sokoto amid emergence of new terror group. Governor Fubara to present appropriation bill to Okojumbo-led assembly. Several troops killed in clashes with terrorist group in Lake Chad region. Details shortly. News Central now at this hour begins with security matters, where we hear that the acting Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has arrived in Sokoto for his first operational visit to the 8th Division area of responsibility. Now, during his visit, he is expected to meet with the Sultan of Sokoto and engage with key stakeholders in the area. General Oluyede will also address troops from Operation Fasanyama who are actively combating terrorists in the northwest region. Oluyede's visit follows the recent confirmation by Defense Headquarters of a new terror group identified as Lakurawa operating in Sokoto and Kebbi states. Meanwhile, 5 local government areas in Sokoto State are currently contending with the challenges posed by this newly emerged group. Similarly, a tragic attack has struck Kebbi State as the armed group known as Lakurawa Terror Group reportedly killed 15 people and rustled over 100 cattle in Mera, Ogi local government area. The assault occurred as residents were preparing for Jumat prayers, with the group exploiting this vulnerable moment. Now, local leader Alhaji Bashir Isa Mera, known as Yerima Mera, reported that community members pursued the attackers into the bush, resulting in a gunfire exchange. 2 of the attackers were killed, but 15 residents tragically lost their lives. Governor Nasser Idris expressed deep concern over the incident and ordered military reinforcements to contain the situation. The deputy governor and emir of Argungu visited the affected area, assuring residents of strengthened security measures to prevent further attacks by the Lakurawa group. The Arewa Consultative Forum has raised urgent alarms about the new terrorist group known as Lakurawa, which has become active in Kebbi and Sokoto states. Now, the group is believed to have formed in Niger Republic amidst recent turmoil there, with Nigeria's defense headquarters confirming its presence in the northwest region. The ACF has called for immediate, decisive action to prevent Lakurawa from establishing a foothold, warning against the delayed response as experienced with previous insurgencies. On Friday, the group launched an attack on Mera town in Kebbi State, killing 15 people and stealing over 100 cattle. The ACF urged security agencies to strengthen intelligence efforts and collaborate with community leaders in counter-terrorism measures. They also stressed the need to revitalize cross-border task forces to secure the region effectively. Now, joining us to discuss this is Dennis Amakri, retired Assistant Director, Department of State Services. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Good evening.
All right, I would love to hear your thoughts on the new group, the new terror group called Lakurawa, and what you think their emergence, says about security measures in Nigeria.
Well, thank you very much for having me. You see, we keep on having newer groups or splinter groups in Nigeria. Actually, I can tell you the Lakurawas are something like the bandits that we've been having, and these bandits have been around, I think, since last year. The DSS has reported on them to the governor of that Sokoto state, and they've been around. Now, one thing is that we have to face these bandits head on, because I don't know why there are so many different kinds of interference in dealing with them. There is no concerted effort of supporting the security agents to actually eradicate them from our land. All these people were brought in from outside the country. the first set of bandits, and now these ones from Mali and Niger, the Tuaregs, are here now. And of course, we have given them so much leeway in such a way that they are now actually trying to do whatever they like. And when they come out like this, I think everybody gets so excited because they are new. They are not new. They are just the same bandits that have been disturbing the northern part of this country.
All right, so reports actually say that they moved from Niger into Nigeria. You know, what does that say about, you know, our borders?
The borders have been always porous. We've been talking about the porous borders, unmanned borders, you know. And of course, we have a problem now with Niger Republic, where the new government is not in very good terms with Nigeria. So in that kind of situation, we need to mend fences quickly because, of course, remember when they break away from ECOWAS and ECOWAS was trying to attack them? That would have been a disaster because, of course, we were not united and Nigeria would have been the loser there. But they've allowed them to come in before we have the military joint task force between Niger, Chad, and Nigeria. You know, it was easy because they were checkmating these terrorists. But now it's like, oh, the door is open. You can go in and come out, and it's a big problem for us right now.
All right, now, you did talk about, you know, that there being no concerted effort to help security agents, you know, phase out these bandits. Can you expatiate more on this and what you think the government needs to do to, you know, stop them from evolving?
Very good. You see, we've been fighting terrorism for the past more than 10 years, you know, and right now you find out that these other bandits are coming in and they are causing problems. Some of them were brought in, like I said earlier, and others are coming to join them. The security agencies have to be, you know, well equipped. They should equip them, you know, because I don't think they are giving them enough money. I know there are a lot of money being spent, you know, but how much money goes down to these security agents? We are talking about the military. We were buying Tucano jets before, and everybody thought that the hope for this terrorism problem will be the Tucano jets. But the Tucano jets are not the right equipment to fight terrorism. You know, so right now, warfare does not go with all these jets and all the rest. Give them modern equipments to buy technical equipments like drones, you know, hire more people because we find out that there is the military itself is lacking manpower now. A lot of them have been killed, you know, and we need to soup up, get more people into our military. Police, very, very important. Remember, in fact, that this particular problem we're having right now is a police case. It's not even a military case. It's a police case. So why don't we equip the police, give them the right equipment, train a lot of them, and the right equipment with them and the DSS that is going to give the intelligence, you know, in fighting this thing. Because if you try to use military, sometimes you have collateral damage.
Yeah, but you talked about, you know, the DSS having, you know, knowledge of this group for over a year, you know, before they even decided to attack. Now, where has the DSS been in all of this, and where are they now? Where do they stand now?
Okay, thank you for that question. The DSS is an intelligence organization. It's an intelligence agency. And what they do is that they gather intelligence, some at the risk of their lives, in providing intelligence to the rightful people who will act on it, like the police or the military. And then, of course, they go on from there. The intelligence agent, the DSS, is not a fighting force, but they will provide intelligence. So, and I think that's what they are doing, because right now, even this new identification or the new insurgents of Lakurawa is by the DSS, and they will continue to give that information, but we want the intelligence to be actionable. Let the people receiving the intelligence act on it. Because if you receive intelligence and you don't do anything about it, you put it in your drawer, it will sit down there for a while. Like I told you, this intelligence was got from the DSS and they reported it to the Sokoto state governor. And of course, from there, we're in a maze until right now, they've started reacting again, then everybody is interested in, what is happening there? So I think it's important that we address it. And one way to address it now is to make sure that at least we know where they are. We know the states where they are, the local governments where they are, about 5 local governments where they are in the ungoverned spaces or remote areas that are ungovernable or what.
Well, but isn't it possible that we actually know where to find them, but, we're actually scared about the possibility of them, spreading out, moving to other states and actually spilling, into larger terrorist cells?
You mean our military or security agencies are scared? Or we are worried about them spilling over?
Okay, let's say worried. We're worried about them spilling over.
Okay. Yes, we're worried about them spilling over. That's why they have to be contained where they are. In fact, if I will advise, I think the Nigerian government should go ahead and declare a state of emergency in those ungoverned spaces, in those local governments. And how do you declare a state of emergency? You really send or make military or police presence there in those spaces. Because those spaces where they are hiding is in a local government in this country, in Sokoto State and Kebbi. So what we will do is to occupy those spaces instead of allowing them to remain there and just do whatever they want to do. They come out, they hit people, they run back, they go and hide in that place. So I think we should
flush them out.
Stop them in their tract, yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dennis Amakri, for your time and also for speaking to us on this.
Thank you for having me.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Air Force has confirmed that several terrorists were killed in separate air operations in Kebbi and Zamfara states. Now, the Air Force also reported the destruction of strongholds belonging to notorious bandit warlords. In a statement on Sunday, NAF spokesperson Olusola Akinboyewa said the hideout of terrorist kingpin Ado Aleiro was among those targeted, adding that many of Aleiro's fighters were killed during the operations. Akinboyewa added that the strikes were launched in response to verified intelligence on increased terrorist activity in the region. It's time for a break now, and when we return, we'll tell you that Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps deploys 6,000 officers to ensure hitch-free Ondo governorship polls. Stay with us. Thank you for staying tuned. Governor Siminalayi Fubara has announced plans to present the 2025 budget to the Rivers State House of Assembly, led by Speaker Victor Ochojombo. Now, he emphasized the positive relationship between the executive and legislative branches as seen in the smooth screening of nominees and the prompt passage of executive bills. Fubara made the statements during the Speaker's inauguration of a tertiary scholarship and employment or empowerment program at Akiama and Aganya communities in Boni local government area. The event also included the commissioning of 2 new community town halls. Now, staying with Rivers State, Governor Siminalayi Fubara has expressed gratitude for divine guidance through recent political challenges, describing these events as a path to political freedom, economic growth, and progress. At a Thanksgiving service in Mbwagba community, Obiakpo, Fubara shared that what some perceived as political setbacks had actually strengthened his administration. The events also honored His Royal Majesty Eze Chike Woluodo, recently appointed as chairman of the Rivers State Traditional Rulers Council. Governor Fubara, conveying his appreciation, pledged to lead with integrity and faith, relying on God's wisdom. He joined the royal family in thanksgiving, praising Ezewodo's joyful spirit and comparing it to the biblical dance of King David before God. Let's now tell you that with less than 48 hours until the handover in Edo State, Governor-elect Monday Okpebolo has alleged that outgoing Governor Godwin Obaseki has been absent from Benin City since Friday. Now, through his media aide, God's Power Inegbe, Okpebolo claims that Obaseki left the city in an unmarked bus after reportedly clearing out the government house. Okpebolo dismissed Obaseki's assertion that he was not invited to Tuesday's inauguration, calling it a distraction tactic. He also accused the outgoing governor of avoiding him since the election, thereby obstructing a smooth transition. Okpebolo accused Obaseki of attempting to undermine the election results, which he expects will soon be affirmed by the tribunal. He pledged to reveal any efforts by Obaseki to influence the outcome of the case. A leadership crisis has been identified as a major impediment to achieving a new Nigeria as envisioned by most Nigerians, which aims to reposition the country in line with its founding fathers' ideals. Issues of this nature dominated discussions at the Obedient Movement's one-day Good Governance Symposium for the Southeast, held at All Saints Cathedral Auditorium in Onitsha, Anambra State. News Central correspondent Austin Azu tells us more.
The Obedient Movement, backed by support groups from the 5 Southeast states, assembled at the All Saints Cathedral Auditorium in Onitsha, Anambra State, for a one-day symposium with the theme, Repositioning the Obedient Movement for Greater Impact. The focus is on strengthening and repositioning the movement, enhancing its impact and strategic development in anticipation of Nigeria's forthcoming general elections.
We are here because every single person in this hall is here because we believe that a new Nigeria is possible.
Professor Patu Tomin, leader of the Obedient Movement and convener of the National Consultative Front, presented a keynote address virtually. This address was part of strategic discussions on leadership, accountability and good governance with other thought leaders, policymakers and movement members. The national coordinator of the Obedient Movement globally, Tanko Yanusa, urged proponents of good governance in Nigeria, particularly those of Igbo descent, to remain steadfast in their support to facilitate Mr. Peter Obi's presidential aspirations for a stronger Nigeria.
The people in the north have been so disappointed with this particular government because what they thought is going to be the Muslim ticket did not favor them. Neither did they bring food on their table.
Others who spoke emphasized that Nigerians have acknowledged their misguided choice in previous presidential election, urging unity among all Nigerians across ethnic and religious lines to prepare the country towards becoming a production-based economy.
Well, I came here specifically to come and tell the Southeasterners that they have one more chance to legitimize what happened in 2023, that Peter Obi will be able to produce the obedient governor of Anambra State. That's the only way we can authenticate the claim that we won 2023 election. And I also stressed on the need for synergy among the aspirants.
The entire country will decide that enough of this nonsense, enough of that nonsense. So it is important that we build resilience in what we do. And then, of course, as we move into issues about governance and politics, we must make sure we get it right across board. How do we make sure the right people are there through the right process? Not a scenario where INEC puts somebody in office or judicial puts somebody in office. The people must put somebody in office and the people must hold that person accountable. And that's the rule of law.
As Nigerians seek the next presidential candidates to address the current challenges facing Nigeria, strengthening and supporting all relevant institutions is crucial for building a new Nigeria with all stakeholders and mechanisms. In Onitsha for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
4 Nigerians have recently achieved notable electoral victories in the United States and Australia. Dr. Oye Owolewa was re-elected as the shadow representative for Washington, D.C. Chiaka Bari won a seat in Australia's Ginninderra district under the Liberal Party. Segun Adeyina retained his role as state representative for Georgia's District 110, and Yemi Mobolade made history as the first black mayor of Colorado Springs. In a congratulatory message, NIDCOM Chair Abike Dabiri-Erewa commended their achievements and commitment to public service in their adopted countries. She encouraged them to uphold their resilience and dedication and offered prayers for their continued success in their roles. Each brings a unique background in law, IT, healthcare, and business, making valuable contributions to their communities internationally. Let's now talk election matters. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has announced the deployment of 6,000 officers to ensure security across Ondo State ahead of the November 16, 2024 governorship election. The Commandant General of the NSCDC, Dr. Ahmed Audi, disclosed this in a press release signed by Corps spokesperson Babawale Afolabi on Sunday. Audi emphasized the Corps commitments to providing comprehensive security before, during, and after the poll. He explained that personnel will be drawn from Ondo and neighboring states, including Ekiti, Ogun, Oyo, Osun, Lagos, Edo, and Delta. Still on the Ondo elections, there will be more security matters much later in the course of the bulletin. But for now, we move to election matters, where the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has ordered a ban on the participation of local security outfits, including the Western Nigeria Security Network known as Amotekun, and the Vigilante Corps in a move to secure the upcoming Ondo governorship election. In a statement on Sunday, Police spokesman Muyiwa Adejobi announced the deployment of specialized police units, including a special intervention squad, police mobile force, counter-terrorism unit, special protection unit, explosive ordnance disposal, and the K9 unit to provide comprehensive security. Aerial patrols using police helicopters and gunboats on waterways were also provided. The IG also issued a stern warning to political thugs or individuals attempting to disrupt the election scheduled for November 16, 2024, which will see no fewer than 17 political parties on the ballot. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has vowed to continue the demolition of shanties that pose a major threat to the security and federal capital. Now, Wike made this known during the unscheduled visit to Ruga community located along the busy airport road in the FCT, which was recently demolished by officers of the FCT Development Control. While engaging with members of the community, he promised to look into their complaints and set up a committee that will interface with those whose property were demolished, but warned against the erection of illegal structures at the location.
You see, it's so painful. When we are doing this work, we are not against anybody. It's for the interest of everybody, the members of the public. But people who come out to say, oh, that poor people who are looking for their livings, nobody wants them to have a place. It's not correct. Security is key. We will not, because you want to find food, and the other people will not be secured. It's our responsibility. It's the responsibility of government to make sure that people are protected while you are looking for whatever you want to look for in order to live your life. So be assured that we will continue with the demolition of shanties that pose security threats to FCT Abuja.
Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, on Saturday recognized the Chief Justice of the Federation, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, for her achievements and contributions to Nigerian judiciary. Governor Sanwo-Olu had hosted a special dinner at the Lagos House Marina to honor the newly appointed Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kekereekun. Now, during the dinner, former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, praised Justice Kekereekun, describing her as a fine lady and a jurist to the core. The event brought together prominent figures from the legal community. Government officials also were there and others to celebrate the new CJN.
We know that your tenure as Chief Justice will be marked by a sharp intellect, deep of insight, and unwavering commitment to the spirit of the law for which you built a long life reputation. At a time when Nigeria faces many challenges, your leadership of the judiciary is a stirring force and a comforting presence, one that will bring renewed strength to the pursuit of justice, equity, and fairness.
There is total unanimity amongst us in Nigeria that the appointment of our new Amazon is well deserved. It's an appointment that was defined by merit, not by any extraneous matter, consideration. And I know that whoever will become a judge, not even to talk of Chief Justice of Nigeria, must be able to show integrity, learning, fairness, firmness, and courage. My noble Lord, the Honorable, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, these are some of the commodities that I know that you parade in more than sufficient quantities.
Since 1914, we have had 23 Chief Justices. My Lord Kekereekun is the 23rd. And she's the second female Chief Justice ever of these 23. There are wonderful women in Nigeria, but this is the second wonderful female judicial officer that we can be proud of. In fact, it's in our time now that we have several women judicial officers. We call them our men in skirt.
I am reminded of the enduring spirit of our great state and its profound influence in my life and career. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to His Excellency Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for hosting this reception and for recognizing the journey I have been privileged to take in the service of our nation's judiciary. It is a call to lead, to inspire, and to champion the integrity of our judiciary at a time when public trust in institutions is more critical than ever. I am committed to upholding the high standards of our judiciary, promoting judicial independence, and fostering an environment where the rule of law...
Coming up, Somaliland prepares for November 13 presidential election. We'll bring you details of this in a moment.
The obedience movement, backed by support groups from the 5 southeast states, assembled at the All Saints Cathedral Auditorium in Onitsha, Anambra State, for a one-day symposium with the theme repositioning the obedient movement for greater impact. The focus is on strengthening and repositioning the movement, enhancing its impact and strategic development in anticipation of Nigeria's forthcoming general elections.
We are here because every single person in this hall is here because we believe that a new Nigeria is possible.
Professor Patu Tomin, leader of the Obedient Movement and convener of the National Consultative Front, presented a keynote address virtually. This address was part of strategic discussions on leadership, accountability and good governance with other thought leaders, policymakers and movement members.
The news continues in Central Africa, where officials on Sunday said numerous Chad troops have been killed in a clash with jihadists in the Lake Chad region, the latest such incident in the Central African nation. Now, the clash is the latest since late October, when an attack by Boko Haram jihadists on a Chadian military base killed at least 40 people. In response, the army launched an operation against the militants. In a statement, the Army Chief of Staff said on Saturday that there was a clash during the day, and after several hours, numerous terrorist elements were neutralized, and that a toll will be published later. Let's head to Mauritius now, where voters turned out early on Sunday to cast their ballots in the tightly contested parliamentary election with a strong police presence at polling stations amid opposition warnings about potential fraud. Now, the election comes on the heels of a historic agreement in which Britain ceded sovereignty of the Chagos Islands to Mauritius, marking a major milestone after decades of dispute. Prime Minister Pravin Jugnauth, who had anticipated a boost from the Chagos deal, faced a setback when leaked recordings of politicians, diplomats and journalists emerged online last month, sparking a political scandal. In response, authorities initially imposed a social media blackout to limit the fallout, but were forced to reverse the decision after facing intense backlash from opposition parties and the press. Now, the incident has fueled concerns over what some critics describe as a deadline or a decline in Mauritius's long-standing democratic values and also civil liberties. We now head to the east of the continent. As Somaliland's presidential election nears, vibrant campaign rallies sweep the breakaway region of Somalia. Now, cities from Borama and Hargeisa are awash in party colors, green and yellow for President Muse Bihi Kulmiye Party, orange for Wadani, and dark green for the Social Justice Party. The election, set for Wednesday, marks a direct vote in Somaliland, which declared independence from Somalia in 1991 but remains unrecognized. Tensions are high with Mogadishu over a maritime deal between Somaliland and Ethiopia, intensifying the region's push for sovereignty. Bihi, in power since 2017, faces strong competition from Wadani's Abdurrahman Mohammed Abdullahi and social justices Faisal Ali Warabi. Somaliland's multi-party democracy is a source of pride for its 6 million residents seeking international recognition.
doorashooyinkan waxay horseedayaan dimuqraadiyad isbedel dhaqaalaha kobca siyaasadda waddanka degta ammaanka hagaaga intaaba way horseedaysaa doorashada soo socota
waxaan doonaynaa oo aan u diyaar garownay 10 November doorashada insha Allah taala ilaahayna waxaan ka rajaynaynaa in maalintaas wax dhinac kasta ku qanco ay ka soo baxaan waddankaygu waa waddan dimuqraadiyadaha ee 5 madaxweyne ayaan soo bedelay tii shanaad baan imika bedelnaa insha Allah taala waxaan rajaynaynaa wax fiican inay ka soo baxaan.
Yes, we are sending a message to the international community to give us recognition. Somaliland is a full functioning government. It has political parties. It has currencies. It's different from Somalia. It has stability. It has everything that government needs, all the elements of the state, so that international community should support Somaliland. They should look Somaliland because Somaliland is a stable country. It's a democratic country.
There is no much visible difference between the ideologically speaking, the two main political parties, but there are differences between the personalities of the contenders. And that's very important here in Somaliland. So one is often portrayed as a strong militaristic man, and the other as a soft diplomatic guy. It is issue of economy also, issue of peace, issue of social cohesion and solidarity of Somaliland people. The opposition think that they are in a better position to unite the people of Somaliland. The president's argument is that no, I am the better position to defend the country because I'm a military man and Somaliland is at war. So the two main contenders, the ruling party and the other, one Daniel leader, are almost in a very stark. They have very different versions and perspectives of the future of Somaliland and how things are to be run.
Still ahead. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu engages Trump on Iranian threat. We'll bring you details after the break. Now, outside the African continent, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office reported that Netanyahu has spoken 3 times in recent days with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, discussing what he called the Iranian threat to Israel's security. Now, according to the statement, the talks aim to bolster the long-standing partnership between the United States and Israel and explore new opportunities for peace and its expansion in the region. The United States, Israel's top ally and military supporter, enters a critical phase in the Middle East with ongoing conflicts in Gaza and Lebanon.
והנכונות והנחישות להגן על עצמנו וגם לדרוש מאחרים לעשות את המוטל עליהם. וזה בדיוק מה שעשינו. מיד לאחר ההתקפה הנפשעת התקשרתי לראש ממשלת הולנד. הוא אמר לי שהוא מתבייש, כך הוא אמר, מתבייש, מצפה ודורש מכל ממשלה אחראית לקטוע את ההתקפות האלה באיבן. כל ממשלה אחראית נדרשת לפעול בעוצמה, בתקיפות, באופן ברור, באופן נחרץ. אנחנו נעשה מה שצריך לעשות כדי להגן על עצמנו ועל אזרחינו. לעולם לא נאפשר לזוועות ההיסטוריה לחזור על עצמן. לעולם לא ניכנע, לא לאנטישמיות ולא לטרור.
The recent rise in Nigeria's budget deficit to 7.5% of the country's GDP signals an increasingly pronounced imbalance between government revenue and expenditure. Now, this was highlighted in a statement by Muhammad Abdullahi, a member of the Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee, during the 297th MPC meeting. According to the Central Bank of Nigeria's latest economic report, the country's fiscal deficit surged to 4.53 trillion naira in second quarter 2024, up from 3.88 trillion naira in the previous quarter. In straightforward terms, a fiscal deficit occurs when a government's expenditures exceed its income from taxes and other revenue sources, indicating that the government is spending more than it earns. Still talking business, Ghana has produced a cumulative total of 633,300 barrels of crude oil from 2010 to July 2024. Now, as disclosed by Public Interest and Accountability Committee Coordinator Isaac Dwamina, production started at 10.7 million barrels in 2011 and saw gradual increases, peaking at 34.3 million barrels in 2019. However, output slightly declined in recent years, with 2021 and 2022 figures recorded at 27.8 million and 25.9 million barrels respectively. The data highlights both growth periods and fluctuations likely influenced by market and operational factors. This production journey underscores Ghana's evolving role in the oil industry as it seeks to balance sustainable extraction with economic growth. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. You heard that Acting Army Chief Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede visits Sokoto amid emergence of new terror group. You also heard that Governor Fubara to present appropriation bill to Okojumbo-led assembly. Finally, we told you that several troops killed in clashes with terrorist group in Lake Chad region. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Thanks for watching. I'm Dashen. Usman.